Hello there and welcome to Infernal's Cantina, episode 3. I am here with a guest, also known as Stormtrooper Lego.
Hello.
Yeah. So, how have you been?
Pretty good. I've been literally the whole quarantine. All I've been doing is like Lego, so.
Yeah, I got to agree. Yeah, all I've been doing is basically just building mocks and then, of course, having to do schoolwork, which is a little bit iffy.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm in Ontario, Canada, and here, for online schoolwork, it's your grade can only go up, so if you get a bad mark, it doesn't count, but if you get a good mark, it just puts your previous mark up.
Okay. But here we're just working off a computer and it's very depressing because you don't necessarily have all your friends or anything like that there. So it does get kind of boring, but I usually finish it earlier than what you would finish school at, so I guess that's good.
Yeah.
So have you seen the...
Wait,
was it?
hold on, before you keep going, is it cutting out for you as well, or is it just me? Because you keep cutting out.
It must be because I'm not close enough to the microphone.
Oh, okay.
So have you seen the latest sets?
Yeah, I saw the haunted house, and I thought that was awesome. And, another thing I find kind of weird is some of the stuff that's been going on with Monkey Kid, where some people are already getting Monkey Kid sets, but like Acid Flash and Just Too Good's videos got taken down when they've made picture videos about it, even though people are already putting up reviews.
Yeah.
So I don't get that.
Yeah, I don't get that either.
And then, also the AT-AT pictures were revealed. This is old news, but
Yep.
I don't really know. I think it's an okay set. For $160, I think that's a little too much, though.
Yeah, I probably still try and pick it up though. I usually get like one massive set at the end of the year, but yeah.
Yeah.
It's usually because it's expensive, it's around about the only time that I get expensive sets. So I usually look for different expensive sets to kind of get around about that time. And yeah, it was quite fun.
Yeah. Are you working on any mocks right now?
I recently, well, I've got an Exegol mock on the way.
Oh, nice. I'm working on Ryloth right now.
Yeah, I saw you started your series. That's looking
Yeah.
really good, by
What
the
do
way.
you think? Yeah, I made my first Bricklink order a few days ago, but I kind of feel like it's a scam because, well, it's not like the piece scam, but just like for shipping, they're paying way too much. Like they want $13 Canadian, they're shipping from Quebec, and to cross continent, it's $10 American to get there, even though that equals to $13 Canadian pretty much. And
Yeah.
but one thing is from province, the other thing's cross continent. That makes it doesn't sound right, but he did show me a link to the Canada Post that's where we're getting it from, and it is true that it is $13, but it will be really useful because this is my first Bricklink haul, so I'm super excited. I got a ton of dark tan pieces because I have like literally 4 dark tan pieces, and that's it. It's super difficult to make stuff. Deserts and stuff.
Yeah.
Other than those pieces, I have a bunch of 2x2 dark tan plates, like smooth tiles, but they're
Yep.
not. I don't have any of like the studded ones, so it doesn't really fit in with the environment.
Yeah. So they're actually quite hard to get nowadays in sets, to be honest.
Yeah, I know that. I found it in a Pick-a-Brick. Around Christmas time, I was in Florida. And they had, at the Pick-a-Brick Wall in Disney Springs, they had a bunch of the, I think it's like the brick pieces, the gray brick pieces, and then those are super expensive. And I remember there's tons of guys there filling up with the 2x1 dark blue clear tiles, and because those go like 10 cents a piece on Bricklink, so if you fill up a Pick-a-Brick cup of it, it'd be well over $100 if you want to sell it on Bricklink. And then the brick pieces are pretty expensive and they're super useful. And then there's also the 2x2 dark tan pieces. I spent all my money on the new 2020 sets because before they came out, because basically how it works is whenever the new sets come out, Lego gets them shipped in a few days before that, unless they come out on the day they get shipped in, which rarely happens. So just ask them if they can, and if you find the right employee, you can ask them if they can go behind stock and see if they have any that they haven't put on shelves yet. And I did that, and I got 3 of the sets like 3 days early.
Nice.
So
That's one thing I'm not used to. I'm not the type of person who gets it early. I'll just wait until it goes on sale, to be honest.
yeah, I got the A-Wing on the day it came out, the UCS one. I've been saving up all year for my first UCS set, because I got the Tinted 4, but once I got it, I realized it wasn't UCS, which sucked. But
Yeah, it's more of like a master builder scale thing. I can't remember the theme exactly.
yeah, well, it's kind of stupid, because if something is $200 and it's that detailed, it should be considered UCS. Like, it's better than the Assault on Hoth. It's better than a lot of the other UCS sets we've gotten.
Yeah.
So
I know Ryan definitely he doesn't like the Assault on Hoth.
yeah, not a lot of people do. I don't really understand why people hate it, because if Lego brands something as UCS, I mean, the only reason I could think of that he would hate it is because it kind of wasted a spot for something else they could have used it for, and he would have to wait a couple more months. But other than that, does it being branded UCS really change how the set was? Even if it wasn't UCS and it was like a play set, why would that, like, he would probably still have loved it, like, if they didn't done it like that. But just because it's UCS, he hates it? Like, oh, there's a little bit of inaccuracies, but I don't really think it's that big of a deal.
Yeah, I would say it actually looks quite good, apart from the ion cannon being a bit bare towards the back.
Yeah.
I think they could have done, or at least hid it a little bit more, rather than just showing all the technique.
Yeah.
So
I also just got the 20th anniversary Slave 1 with all my VIP points, because I've never spent any VIP points since I started collecting Lego, so I had a bunch, and I got the 20th anniversary Slave 1, so now I have every 20th anniversary set, including the Obi-Wan promo.
awesome. I've only got like 1, 2. But to have like all the 20th anniversary sets would be incredible, because you have all the nostalgic minifigures like the Luke, the Vader, the Lando, etc. They're all pretty expensive if you try and get them off of eBay, I think. But especially the Obi-Wan one, so you're very lucky to have them.
I have 3 Obi-Wans, actually, because I went to the Lego store a couple times over Christmas with my brother using our Christmas money, and we got a bunch of sets, and every time they gave us another Obi-Wan. And, okay, this is another tip. If you have siblings, this is super useful, because when one time I only spent, together we both spent $75, and technically you should only get 1 for that, but we asked if we could have 2, so both me and my brother could have 1, and they gave us 2 for the price of 1. So
I only go to like the Lego store is around about like 25 minutes away from me, and it takes a little bit longer trying to get into the centre of that city. Because there's only one Lego store in Scotland, it's interesting because, you know, you only have one place to go for that type of thing, and then of course I don't go there very often because it's awfully busy, and of course nowadays you have us stuck in quarantine and things like that.
yeah. Well, one funny thing about where I am, there's like 3 Lego stores within a 2-hour radius, but 2 of them are literally like a half an hour away from each other, and then the other one's 5 minutes away from the other one. So there's like 3 Lego stores, and they're all really close together.
Isn't there only like one in Norway? Or none? I can't remember. I suppose someone said that in like a live stream or something like that, and it kind of surprised me because you would expect there to at least have a Lego store one place rather than next to Zilch.
Yeah. Well, yeah. The U.S. has a lot of Lego stores, though.
Yeah. It's a big place though.
Yeah.
So that says we're about 10 minutes in.
Yeah.
Is it okay if we end the podcast here?
Nah, man, we should keep going. We need to make it entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't exactly hear everything you're saying, so I kind of like responding like, wait, I hope you said this, and then I try to respond with what I think you said. So.
Yeah. This is only like my second time actually doing like this kind of call thing before. I tried it with Niam or Nyan Studios or whatever his name is now, and it worked, but I tried recording it and it didn't record, so.
Okay, well, I got some tips because before I even hit 100 subscribers, I tried to do a podcast, and don't do that. That's not really a good idea. But anyway, so I have some tips for that. First of all,
Yep.
For a podcast, a good idea would be like to have like one or two main guests, like so there'd be you and like someone else, and then you could have like every week you could have a new guy, and that'd be kind of like an interview with them.
Yes.
So that's what I tried to do that with my friends, but we couldn't really get. So I had like two of my friends as the main guests with me, and then we had like one new guy every week. But didn't work out since we only had 100. I only had 100 subscribers, so not many. Not many views. So, but it was so good.
Yeah, I'll probably use that. Thanks for the tip, by the way.
Yeah. Also, can I be that main guest every week?
Yeah, sure.
It's also, I found it funny, you passed me for subscribers. I remember when you had only 20 and you entered your Dagobah into my mock contest.
Yeah.
By the way, I think you were, I had it since, like, if I had the ranking all the way up to 5, I think yours would have been in 4th place. It was pretty close.
Oh, thank you.
Casey's ATSD, though, was incredible.
I got to agree. Wait, what? Favorite Lego Star Wars set is most likely, I don't know, Palpatine's shuttle's probably my favorite because I remember having so much nostalgia back in the day for it.
Yeah, my favorite set is probably either the Tantive or the A-Wing, out of the ones I have, but my favorite in general would probably be the UCS Star Destroyer.
The Star Destroyer is a big, massive, badass looking ship. I know it's pretty like, it looks somewhat interesting in the actual films, but when you get the Lego set, it just looks phenomenal.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely, okay, this is something I've always been debating. So, I'm a huge Lego Star Wars fan, but I've been debating, what if I had to get rid of one of them, I can never mention Star Wars again, or I can never mention Lego again. Which one would it be? That's always been a difficult debate for me. Because I'm a huge fan of Lego, and I'm a huge fan of Star Wars, and then they mix together Lego Star Wars. But if I had to get rid of one, which one would it be?
I would say maybe Star Wars, because Lego's kind of branched to an awful lot of other themes, like Marvel, Pirates of the Caribbean, etc.
Yeah. I don't know. I think personally Star Wars, because I got into Lego a lot later than I did Star Wars, because Clone Wars got me into Star Wars, so.
Yeah. I mean, like, Star Wars has basically been impacted many of our lives, but if I was wanting it either, Lego basically be in the exact same position, but with other themes, whereas Star Wars, I don't know, you would, but if you didn't have Lego, you wouldn't be able to have some sort of connectivity type of things. You'd be with other type of toys, which is not necessarily something everyone would want.
Yeah, yeah, so I was talking to Jay on his stream, like, I think it was his Friday stream. I was on the whole time, by the way, so a
Yeah.
little flex there. But, anyway, so, we were debating, because he thinks it's weird that some people got into Star Wars from the Clone Wars, because me and Jedi Bob were talking about how we, both got into the Star Wars from the Clone Wars, which also feels kind of weird, because Clone Wars lasted so long that for some people like Jedi Bob, he started watching from the beginning, that got him into Clone Wars, and I started watching at the very end when the new seasons came out on Netflix, because I had never watched it on Cartoon Network, and that got me into Star Wars, which is super weird, because he's a lot older than me, but because Clone Wars was spread out so much, it got both me and him into Star Wars, even though he's almost, like, he's a lot older than me, so.
Yeah. Me personally, I only grew up with, well, I grew up with the prequels, despite the fact that Revenge of the Sith was basically released basically the year I was born, but yeah. So I kind of grew up with the prequels. I'm like, if you don't like Revenge of the Sith, then
yeah. Revenge of the Sith is my favorite Star Wars movie. I just generally, I think it's brilliant because most people have problems with his prequels because of dialogue and stuff, but I look past that, and my favorite part of stuff is story. That's why I kind of prefer it than all the original trilogy movies.
yeah, because
the story in
it
Revenge
makes
of the
sense.
Sith and the prequels is brilliant.
It makes sense because it joins up with the original trilogy.
Yeah, I don't like the sequels because it just undid everything. And I actually saw this video that kind of ruined a lot of the Skywalker saga. It's basically that Palpatine nailed won in Episode 9 because he killed off his two arch enemies, the Solo and Skywalker bloodline, and he told Rey to kill him so that she would, like, live on. So not only is the Palpatine bloodline keep going, so, like, if Rey had a child or something, then they could have the power of Palpatine. And then both the Skywalkers and the Solo bloodline has been wiped out.
That's quite terrifying to think about, to be honest.
Yeah, I know. It's just, I don't really, that's one of the reasons why I don't like the sequels. And also, Jay's a huge sequel fan, and it's kind of funny because we always argue about why the sequels are bad with him, and he's like always trying to explain it. And okay, that's kind of, the only thing is Jay's a super good arguer. You know what I mean? Like, it's not, you know, people who like aren't good at actually making good arguments, but whenever they argue with you, they always make it seem like they're right in your mind, but when you think about it afterwards, they're not right. Like, what they said is really wrong. It's just like the way they said it made it seem like they were right and you were wrong.
Yeah, I'm not a very good arguer.
Not saying Jay is a good arguer, but I'm just saying, like, he also has that thing in him where whenever you argue with him, even if, like, he says something wrong, which he rarely does, it still feels like he's, like, right. I have a friend like that where, literally, a week ago, he convinced me that, about something, I can't remember what it was, but it was completely wrong, and I knew it, but he just made me feel like I was wrong and he was right, just by the way he was talking. So.
Yeah. I think if it influenced you to do that, then it could probably influence you to think that Barrow Sophie is his girlfriend or whatever.
Yeah.
That song, though.
How long's the podcast been going on for now?
20 minutes.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, so, How long more do you think it'll be on for?
I don't know. It really depends. My phone's kind of running out of space, so 20 minutes is around about maximum.
Oh yeah. Okay. So, yeah. Also, do you like Harry Potter?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I've been rereading. I just reread like the 3rd and 4th book, and I'm in the middle of the 5th one right now.
I've never read any of the books.
Oh, I've reread 1st and 2nd one a bunch because they're really quick. I can read them super quickly, so I just wanted to reread these other ones. Plus, only the last 4 are on Netflix, and they've been on Netflix forever. And I've been waiting for the first 4 to come on because I've never actually seen the 1st movie or the 3rd movie.
They're good. I have most of them. They're not on Netflix or anything here in the UK, but they're pretty popular in terms of DVD wise.
Oh yeah, I can never find Harry Potter DVDs. I don't really get why.
Most likely sold out.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
It's a bit like what do you prefer, Lord of the Rings or Harry Potter?
Probably Harry Potter, mainly because the books are just incredible. Like, some of the movies missed tons of stuff that the books got right. Plus, even the movies, like, especially the 4th one, everybody likes the 4th movie the most, but compared to the book, it was really bad, especially because I hated the mood of the whole movie, because in the book, this stuff's happening to Harry, and he's really mad about it, but he's not getting mad at everyone all the time. And not everyone's moody, it's just him that's kind of moody when people question him too much. But in the movies, it makes it seem like everybody's always in a bad mood, no matter what.
Yeah.
Like, before I read the books and I saw the movies when I was like 7 or something, I didn't like the majority of the movies. I didn't like the 4th one. I liked the 5th one, but I didn't like how moody everyone was in that one. I didn't like the 6th one, and so I didn't really like any of those because they're too moody. But I read the books and then re-watched the movies, and it kind of changed my opinion.
I would say the 3rd one's my favourite film, to be honest.
Oh yeah, the 3rd one's incredible. They like a lot of the points they have, like they made it through. So.
Yeah, it's one of the films that I can mostly relate to be honest.
Yeah. I like how you can relate to Luke and Anakin as well. I can't really like relate to some of the sequel characters though. Like none of the sequel characters I can really relate to.
Stuff about things like that. Anakin is a bit emotional, but you would expect that from a human or a person in general because that's who we are. And that's kind of the downfall of the Jedi, because the Jedi fail to recognize that you should harness your emotions rather than just bottle it all up.
Yeah, I read the Colin Trevorrow script for episode 9, and it would have been better than episode 6, like how it ended, because the one thing that the Star Wars hadn't done yet to end it was that they had to realize that the dark side and the light must work together to survive, because there can't be balance without the other. So the Jedi would harness both the light and dark to make and then protect the battle of the galaxy truly.
Yeah. It's quite incredible to think of things like that.
Yeah, and then another thing I liked about the script was how they went back to places we've seen already, like the Jedi Temple. And it was in ruins, and then they started like a bounty hunter and Stormtrooper rebellion against the First Order, which actually gave Finn an arc. That's what I saw how it should have ended. And they're like, Finn was going to start a Stormtrooper rebellion, but then they're like, nah, oh, dang it, you nearly had an arc there.
Yeah. I've not read the script personally, but I've seen like videos about it and things like that.
Yeah.
Is it any good? From what you're telling me, it seems good, but what do you find it exactly?
I've seen people doing stop motions about it, actually. Also, one ending that I really liked was how R2 R2-D2 while he got damaged in a battle while he flew an X-Wing with Chewie. Went through his memory banks and they started playing every battle he's ever been in, and all the Force Ghosts and the Resistance surrounded and watched it. So
we did kind of get to see Endor and Bespin again.
Yeah.
Which is fun. Not necessarily, the main thing that I was mostly annoyed with the sequels is that we didn't truly see the Force Ghost of Anakin.
Yeah, I hated how they just gave a blind eye to the prequels.
Yeah.
Like, until Clone Wars, like, unless, other than stuff that Dave Filoni wanted to add into his own work, you could tell that Disney didn't care about the prequels. I rarely saw prequel merchandise. You can see in the Lego sets how people are like, oh yeah, they come out with a couple prequel sets a year, but compared to the sequel and original trilogy, they do not do it justice. And you can just tell there's no prequel merchandise compared to originals and sequels. There's like nothing for the prequel. And that just shows how much Disney, like, what they think of the prequels.
It's a bit like in the Skywalker Saga trailer for Disney Plus, you see literally next to zilch of the prequel trilogy.
Yeah, I know. You literally see at the very beginning, they're like, oh, they show, as Obi-Wan's talking about the Jedi, they just show like 2 clips of it, and from there it's just originals and sequels.
Yeah, it's a little bit annoying because the prequels are great, and especially nowadays with the Clone Wars is really added to the prequels.
Yeah, like, I don't like, one of the things I don't like, what was I saying? About, what was it? I can't remember what I was going to say.
Take your time.
Okay, hold on. I hate it when this happens. Okay, never mind.
It's known as a brain fart.
Yeah, I know. I hate it when I have those, because it's one of those things. Whenever I get them is when I have too many things I want to say at once, but I can't think of what to say first, and I forget the other thing I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's like when you go upstairs, you walk into your room, and you're just like,